Hi students, I hope you found the lesson 1 on absolute value, solving absolute value equations useful for your assignment, and this is lesson 2. So let's take up some examples here. Um, like we discussed in lesson 1, the step 1 is to check whether the left hand side of the equation is only absolute value, and that is not true in this case. There is a 5 subtracted here. We have to take care of that 5 which is subtracted. So let's do that first to make our next step clear. And what we are going to do is we are going to again do the inverse operation as if we are solving an equation. So 5 is subtracted from the absolute value. You are going to add 5 to both sides of the equation. Negative 5 and positive 5 together become a 0. So you're left with x minus 4 on the left hand side, and the right hand side becomes 15 plus 5, which is equal to 20. Now let's do the check again. Left hand side only absolute value, nothing multiplied, nothing added or subtracted, and the right hand side is a positive number. You only can talk about right hand side being a positive number if the left hand side only has absolute value sign and something inside it. Okay, now our equation is again ready to split. So what do? We copy down the inside x minus 4, and it is equal to 20, the right hand side. In the next part of the split, you have x minus 4 is equal to negative 20, because absolute value of negative 20 is also 20, absolute value of 20 is also 20. So I can replace my x minus 4 with a 20 one time and with a negative 20 the other time. Now you solve both these equations the way you solve an equation, by inverse operations. So add 4 to both sides. So, and here also add 4 to both sides. So negative 4 positive 4 becomes 0, x is equal to 24, and here again negative 4 positive 4 becomes 0, x is equal to negative 20 plus 4 is equal to negative 16. Now you check, you put it back in the equation. 24 minus 4 is a 20, 20 minus 5 is a 24 minus 4 is a 20, 20 minus 5 is a 15. That is the right answer. If you put negative 16 here to check instead of x, if you put a negative 16 here, negative 16 minus 4 is a negative 20, and absolute value of negative 20 is a 20. So you subtract 5 from it and you get a 15. So both these answers are, so I'm checking it verbally, but you must check it on paper to make sure that both your answers are right. And you will find the significance of it once we do questions, especially with x on both sides of the equation. Now, let's take up another example. 3 plus 2x equals 7. The absolute value of 3 plus 2x equals 7. Now, first check, is the left hand side of the equation only inside the absolute value sign? Yes. Is the right hand side of the equation only positive? Yes. So now I'm ready to split it into two parts. So 3 plus 2x equals 7, and here 3 plus 2x equals negative 7, right? So now again you are going to solve the equation the way you have been solving it in the past years. Remember, when you solve the equation, you do the opposite of PEMDAS when you're solving for x. First, you do any addition, subtraction, something which is added to the x term or subtracted. You take care of that first, and then you do multiplication, division. So for solving an equation, for solving for x, you do the opposite of PEMDAS. How do you do that? By using the inverse operations. Inverse operations. So inverse, so we do addition, subtraction first and then multiplication, division. So 3 is added, inverse operation of 3, addition is subtraction. So you subtract 3 from both sides. So this goes away, 3 minus 3 is a 0, 7 minus 3 is a 4. So you're left with 2x equals 4. We do the same thing this side. 3 is added, so you subtract 3 from both sides. 3 minus 3 is a 0. You're left with 2x on the left hand side. Negative 3, 7 minus 3 is a negative 10. Now you do the next inverse operation. 2 is multiplied, you divide by 2 on both sides. What do you get here? 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 4 two times. So x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 2, negative 10 divided by 2 is a negative 5, right? So before you circle your answers, plug back your 2 in here. 2 times 2 is a 4 plus 3 is a 7. That's right. Then next you plug back your negative 5. Negative 5 here. Negative 5 times 2 is a negative 10. Negative 10 plus 3 is a negative 7. Absolute value of negative 7 is equal to 7. So that's the right answer. So this is also. That's how you plug it back in and check your answer and be sure for yourself that both your answers are right. Okay, now similarly here when you will solve for the absolute value equation for x, you are going to check, is my left hand side only absolute value? That's true. Is the right hand side positive? That's true. Then you split it up. 7 minus 3x equals 14, and the other one would be 7 minus 3x equals negative 14. And then you solve for x. The opposite of PEMDAS, addition, subtraction first. So you will start by subtracting 7 on both sides and then you will divide by negative 3. Right? So that's how you're going to do this question also. I'm not completely solving that for you. Let's take up another question. Here you can see that something is being multiplied to the absolute value and something is also added outside. So I'm going to use the opposite of PEMDAS again. So the opposite of PEMDAS for solving um, for getting rid of everything which is around the absolute value sign. So I'm ready for splitting. So first the addition subtraction. Let's look for what is added to the absolute value term. I have 5 added here. If it was subtracted, I would do the inverse operation of adding, but it is added, so I'm going to do the inverse of that, subtraction of 5 from both sides. So what am I left with? I am left with 5 minus 5 is a 0. 2 times 2x minus 2 is equal to 13 minus 5 is an 8. So 2 times 2x minus 2, right? Now I still don't have my absolute value by itself on the left hand side. So what do? I divide by 2 on both sides. Inverse of multiplication, 2 is multiplied to the absolute value. I divide by 2 on both sides. So what do I get? 2x minus 2 is equal to 2x minus 2 is equal to 2 goes into 8 4 times is equal to 4. Okay, so now basically my equation, my absolute value equation is ready to split. Okay, so now I'm going to split it into two parts. 2x minus 2 is equal to 4 and the other part is 2x minus 2 is equal to negative 4. because now my left hand side is only absolute value equation and the right hand side is a positive number. So what did I do to get there? I got rid of everything that was multiplied and um, uh, and added, subtracted to it, and I used opposite of PEMDAS. First I subtracted, then I got rid of the something that was multiplied, both by using the inverse operation. So when something was added, I subtracted, and when something was multiplied, I divided, and now I have only the absolute value on the left hand side and only the positive number on the right hand side. So I'm going to solve it like the way we solve the equation. Again, opposite of PEMDAS, you solving for x, first get rid of something which is added or subtracted. 2 is subtracted, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Add 2 to both sides, right? Get rid of this. 2x equals, so 2x equals 6. And here again 2x becomes equals negative 4 plus 2 is a negative 2. So next step, inverse of multiplication, because 2 is multiplied to x, you are going to divide the 2 by both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. What do you get here? When you divide 6 by 2, 2 goes into 2 one time, so this becomes x equals 3. This side becomes x equals 2 goes into negative 2, negative 1 time. Okay, so here your two answers are is equal to negative 1. Right? So you get your two answers. I'm going to write them down here. X is equal to 3 and x is equal to negative 1. Okay, so and then you can go back in here into the equation and you can check when you put x equals 3. I'm verbally going to check it. 2 times 3 is a 6. 6 minus 2 is a 4. Absolute value of 4 is a 4. 4 times 2. 2 is multiplied outside. 4 times, use PEMDAS now. You're not solving, but you are evaluating. So so what did we get? 2 times 3 is a 6. 6 minus 2 is a 4. Absolute value of 4 is 4. 4 times 2 is an 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. Similarly, if you put negative 1 instead of x, 2 times negative 1 is a negative 2. Negative 2 minus 2 is a negative 4. Absolute value of a negative 4 is a positive 4. 4 times 2 is an 8 and 8 plus 5 is a 13. Again, both your answers are right. So again, step by step, get rid of this 5. Then by subtracting on both sides, you're left with 2 times again the absolute value. Get rid of that 2. So your absolute value equation is ready for splitting by just having the absolute value on the left hand side of something and the positive number on the right hand. When you have a situation like this, then you're ready to split it into two parts, one with a positive 4, one with a negative 4. Then use the opposite of PEMDAS, first add or subtract, then multiply or divide, and use the inverse operations to get your answers and check your answers. Okay, I hope this is useful and you will be able to do similar questions like this in your assignment.